The Human Loop podcast, powered by Ethereum. Si, welcome to the Human Loop podcast. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
No worries. Tell everyone who you are and who you help.
Yeah, sure. My name's Si. I run a company called Embedded Ops. It's an advisory business for recruitment agencies. I support them on all things rec tech and operational processes. Been in recruitment for almost 15 years now. Started as a recruiter. Still love recruitment. I still miss sales. I love that. I love the sales and competitive nature of the industry. But now I spend most of my days tinkering around CRMs and processes and boring stuff that most people say doesn't suit the way I dress, apparently.
Boring stuff, but I think it lights you up.
I love it. It's nothing better than looking at how does something that we do over here impact this over there, and what's the relationship between it. I'm a believer that you can map ratios in recruitment from start to finish, and I think you can probably do that in all businesses, actually. Yeah,
completely. I resonate with that from a leadership perspective. I think we both geek out in our own domains on using data and upstream and downstream consequences to really unpack value and stuff. Cool. Right. First question. Everyone gets this question. What is one thing that you know today about leadership or business that you didn't know 5 years ago?
I would say I always thought it was a lonely thing. I thought being a leader or being a founder of your business, because people talk about it's lonely, and sometimes you get those targeted Instagram adverts saying, "Oh, are you a lonely founder? Come join our community," and stuff like that. So I always had this vision in my head that it's a lonely place to be. You're solo. You've got to be really hard faced, and you've got to make some tough decisions at all times. And that's just what I pictured it to be. Having run Embedded Ops, having done fractional COO gigs for lots of different size businesses, I've just realised it's not. Actually, it's not. People are there with you for the journey if you choose them to be. So for me, my perception of it has changed so much over the last 5 years, and it's certainly that element of being on your own, having to deal with things on your own, versus actually, no, you can really bring everyone along with you and feel less lonely.
Yeah, and I think that's really important, particularly when you found a business. It does feel super lonely at points, doesn't it? When you're sat at the desk on your own with your laptop, and it's just kind of you at that point. So, how have you lent into the community bit? Yeah,
I mean, everyone used to say the piss out of me. I'm allowed to swear, right?
You have.
I have now,
yeah.
So yeah.
We're good.
Everyone used to take the mick out of me last year. They were like, "So, is there a recruitment event that you don't go to? And how does your missus let you go out that much?" What people don't see is all the stuff that I do at home on the weekends and other days and stuff like that. But I had a KPI for myself, which was I'd like to go to one event per week. Within the industry or within business communities, meeting new people essentially. So I found all the networks, and I worked out which networks cater to which type of audience and which ones were good for certain things. Like if I need to know something about tech, I've got some really good WhatsApp groups that I can go to. If I need to know something about finance, I've got good people that I can go to, different communities to go to. So I just make sure I'm present, and I go to as many things as possible. Like I was saying to you earlier about yesterday, I knew that event was on in London. I knew there'd be a load of people in there that I'd like to hang out with. So I logged off and went and had a few beers, and yes, you just make connections. So just getting yourself out there and going and attending these events in person as well. I just love in person. I mean, everyone says you love in person, Si, because you love a beer. I mean, I do enjoy a beer. Who doesn't, right? Especially yesterday in the sun in London. But there's nothing better than in person. Shaking hands, having a laugh. It's the best thing.
I agree. This would not have been the same if we both logged on to Riverside.
Yeah.
Would it?
No, wouldn't be at all.
It'd be this is just, there's that stilted bit of Zoom and Riverside, etc. And I agree. I think the in-person bit is super important. And I think, a little plug for the human in the loop, but keeping us as humans, the relationship bit, the authenticity bit, when we can automate the hell out of everything else, is super important. I was yesterday I had coffee with an investor. He is a serial investor, and he talked to me about two businesses he'd recently invested in. Funnily enough, they're both community networking plays. And I was talking to him. I was like, well, why? Mm-hmm. Why aren't you investing in AI tech? Invest in tech.
It
wasn't that conversation, but he was saying, look, if you look at what everyone is crying out for, they're crying out for community, they're crying out for engagement, they're crying out for a bit. No, they're not crying out for a bit. Well, maybe. But I think it's really important.
I think so. I feel like I think that's a post-COVID thing as well, right? I do think that we spent 2-3 years not having all of that available to us, and I think society-wide we lost that ability to connect with people and operate in that space. Like we hire grads into recruitment agencies sometimes who finish university in the time of lockdown and things like that, and then their first jobs were all remote, like they were onboarded remotely. They don't know what that first Friday night pint tastes like, or they don't know the little things that when you start working, like, or your boss walks in the room, so you got to stand up straight and things like that, little things like that we missed out on. So I think the community stuff, I think it stems from there. And I do think everyone wants to do it. I think the recruitment industry specifically, it's no longer good enough to have 100,000 CVs in your database. That's just not a selling point. But if people want to know who's in your community, who knows who you are, like who comes to you for guidance and support and advice, because that's the value now, I think, of recruitment agencies particularly.
Yeah, that's the off AI play, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like actually, if and I completely agree. Like actually, your community, your network, your credibility, the relationships, how people talk about you in the room when you're not there.
Yeah.
Those are the bits that really differentiate you outside of, being able to source quickly and etc. So yeah, completely aligned. Which means we're going to have a beer after this.
We are having a beer after this, definitely.
Cool. Okay.
I drove though, because I have to get back, and I knew if I didn't drive, I would have more than one pint, and I'd get in trouble for being home late.
Okay, cool. Well, that's a deal, because I want to get home for bedtime.
Yeah.
So we'll have one beer, and then we can have a half after that. We'll be fine. Cool. So you do like a really interesting piece of work, which is basically enabling other people to perform really, really well. That's kind of your role. So you are, you're like the physio. If I go back to like a rugby or football team, you're like the physio that everyone needs. How do you get people to buy into the new systems and processes? Because there's a leadership skill there.
Do you know, I think perspective is really, really important. I think sometimes it's very easy as humans, I think, to just think about your own intentions and initiatives and what you're trying to get out of things. And I think when it comes to adoption, change, leading projects and getting people to onboard and be compliant, you always have to think about their perspective. It's what is this person's motivations? What are they into? What are they trying to achieve with their career? Because you, Mr. CEO, spending 100 grand on a new CRM because the account executive has told you it's going to, triple your revenues or whatever, is cool. But that doesn't translate really well to what your recruiters got to do. What's their pain point? What is their aims in life? So I think it's both on a business level and on a personal level. I like to connect with all the stakeholders in any project that I'm involved in on a personal level, because I really want to understand what makes them tick, right? I want to know if they grew up on a council estate in southeast London. I want to know if they went to a boarding school somewhere in the countryside. Like, I want to know that sort of stuff, because I think it plays a part, and then understand their motivations, because ultimately people are selfish, right? People do want to just do stuff that's going to better themselves and look after themselves, which is fine. Like, that's completely and utterly fine. I think you just got to be aware of it. So for me, the first thing is always knowing what's in it for the people. Like, we can't go to people and say, hey, please now log all your calls on this system. It's just not going to work. It's like, hey, we spoke about your next promotion. How far are you off of it? Okay, cool. So we need to find an extra 3-4 deals. Do you know what? If you log this stuff in the CRM, maybe the marketing team can pick it up and help you drive a few more conversations or pick up a few more meetings. Like connecting the dots for them a little bit more. But yeah, that's the number one thing for me. You've got to know every single person's motivations, quite deep as well. I don't think it can be surface level. I hate when people say, well, my recruiters just want to make money. So I don't know, some of them, do they? Some people do recruitment. Some people really enjoy the high of doing a placement, like the sales high, right? Yeah. The dopamine hit of doing that versus the paycheck. I was always for the paycheck. So for me, as a young man, if you told me to jump in front of a bus and it would make me £1 no, I would have done it. But some people, I think everyone assumes that's the case for recruiters, but it's not sometimes. Sometimes they just want to do good work. Sometimes they want to be perceived really well by their family. They want to be perceived, seen as an expert by their clients. So yeah, lots of different options in there. Yeah,
and I think that translates to line leadership as well. Mm-hmm. Like to segue there, like the way that you have to do a huge behavioural change bit in all the environments you go into. And I think you think about a new leader being promoted or a leader dealing with changes in the environment, etc. Actually, I think as leaders, we need to be on the front foot all the time and just be super curious. I think it's that curiousness that actually is like, but authentic, like actually, what do I need to know about your selfish goals and aims to achieve my selfish goals and aims? Like ultimately, I agree. Like I have this conversation with my wife about the word selfish, and actually, you've got to be selfish. In my view is you've got to be selfish and look after yourself to be able to look after other people. Like it's a whole oxygen mask thing. And so when my wife says, "Ben, you're really selfish," I'm like, "Yeah." Yeah, it doesn't wash very well.
No. I actually call my missus selfish all the time, right? But I remember I met my side story, but I met my missus on Hinge, right? Like we met on Hinge, but I'd had a like dating record wasn't very great. I remember sitting down with my mates going, "Do you know what? I need someone that's like a little bit of an opposite to me. Like I am just will spend money." Buy shots for everyone. I'll go out my way to help anyone and everyone, and try. And I'm a pleaser, right? And I was like, I need someone that's just a bit more selfish, but like selfish in the constraints of our relationship. So there's a party in the relationship looking after us. And I find it funny when you go to like a lot of recruitment agencies have co-founders, right? You get 2 co-founders. If they don't have that balance between them, they struggle so much with change because actually they either go too far too much and are too frivolous with stuff with their businesses, or they go the other way where they're just too selfish and they don't look after their staff enough. So I find like that you need the balance. So Cheryl is the selfishness to my
she's the yin to your yang.
My yin to my yang, yeah, she'll love that. Yang. Can we clip that, please, guys?
Yeah, let's clip that. Can we also remove the bit where we call our wives selfish?
Yeah.
Like, Sarah, like, okay. Actually, no, she calls me selfish. It's fine. Yeah. I'm good. You're in trouble. You're in trouble. Should we get into this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, cool. So, how is this going to work? We're going to go through the decision sprint. Okay, and lights come down. It's cool because we get to bring a bit of Ethereo's behavioural engine into the podcast, which I know I need to give you a walk around. So, 5 cards. Mm-hmm. Each card has a different scenario. We'll call them a scenario. Different scenario. What you got to do, you get to pick one, read it, all right, and then the answer is basically they all say what's your call, all right. So you've got to then think about the scenario and how you'd approach it. You're going to have 5 minutes to give me your best go under pressure. The good news is it's not recorded. There are no mics. Okay. If you read one of these cards and you don't like it, you just say pass, all right, and you can pick another one.
Okay.
Should we do that bit first?
Good. And am I talking through my thought process as I'm answering?
No. No. Just give your answer.
My answer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. But first of all, pick.
This one.
Yeah.
Do you want me to read it out? No, you're going to read it out.
I'm going to read it out.
Yeah, okay,
I'm
cool.
going to
read
read
it out.
Read. You have a little read. Do you want to pass?
I'm going to pass on that one.
Yeah. Right. We are 1 of 3.
Okay. Ooh, yeah.
Which one have you got?
4 of 5.
Let's make sure I don't get in trouble with Josh. Okay. 4 of 5. Ooh, the trust card. Okay. So I've chosen the trust card. You've learned something you can't unlearn. Someone in your area of responsibility, someone respected, someone visible is crossing a line. The pattern is becoming impossible to ignore and the evidence is clear. There's an all-hands meeting in 5 days where this person will be publicly recognised for their work. Saying nothing before then is a choice. Saying something damages them and possibly your own standing. What's your move? I'm going to set you up with 5 minutes. You've got 5 minutes. You don't have to use all of it. All right. Your time starts as soon as I pass this plord across to you. We going? Let me get this set up for you. 5 minutes. There you go. Starts now.
I don't think I need the 5 minutes. I think I'm quite good and clear about what I would do in this scenario.
Go for it.
I am saying something. I am saying something because... Do you want to tell you why? Yeah, I'm saying something because publicly recognizing someone when the business publicly recognizing someone when me as a leader is aware that, yeah, that they are crossing a line isn't right. That's just not right. Not morally, not for PR for the business, not the sort of things that not the sort of people you should be recognizing for their work. So regardless of the impact on my own standing, I think you would have to say something because you've learnt it. I think tactfully and timeline, etc. But definitely before the public recognition. In my opinion, that is what I would do.
Who are you saying something to?
To the person and any relevant parties that probably need to know about it. But firstly, the person. Depending on the level of crossing of line, if it needs to be communicated to the entire business, then fair. But at the very least, it needs to be flagged to the person who's done the wrong, who's crossing the line, and any other SLT or relevant parties that are involved in the crossing of the line.
Anything else you want to add?
I might move the all hands meeting, but apart from that, no. I think it's quite vague, isn't it? So I don't know what the crossing of the line is. It would all depend on what we're talking about there. But no, that's me.
Cool. Good stuff. Happy days. Let's stop the timer. Mm-hmm. Got that? Good stuff. Okay, so when you read the scenario, like how did that make you feel? And then answering the question, like how was that?
I felt annoyed actually. The first feeling I had was a negative one. It's the crossing the line, right? Like if someone's doing something that they shouldn't be doing, morally, legally, whatever it might be. Yeah, didn't like it. It made me angry. Maybe angry's probably a bit strong, but in the direction towards anger, probably. Yeah. And when I got to the bit about publicly recognised for their work, I was like, that's not right. That started making me feel, no, that's really not, that's not correct. When the decision is presented, the options are presented at the end of the card, it's a little bit, I didn't feel like there was anything. I think I was pretty, reading it, I knew how I would want to deal with that straight away. I didn't think that there was an option to not say anything because something's happened. And I think things like that need to be dealt with straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah. In whatever capacity that happens, right? Whether that's recruitment consultants, ops execs, office managers, associate directors, board directors, doesn't matter.
Can I throw a curveball?
Yeah.
What about, so you learn something you can't unlearn, all right? So someone's crossed the line. Mm-hmm. Where do like mitigating factors come in? So let's say we play this forward a bit. You have that conversation with that person, and I agree with you. I think you have the conversation with the person.
Yeah.
And there are a number of mitigating factors.
If the mitigating factors can there be mitigating factors to crossing a line? If we know that a line has been crossed, I don't think the factors are mitigating. I think they're just factors in a decision that's happened. Because if they were mitigating factors, I don't think the line would have been crossed.
Okay.
Is where my head goes to. I feel under pressure. Actually. This is good. It's getting my cogs turning.
Yeah. Which is exactly what I need on a Friday before my holiday. Yeah. So I align with where you're going. So for me, you come across as a leader that's approaching this scenario in a very values driven perspective, which I admire and I buy into. Have you ever experienced a scenario where you've had something like this happen in an organisation you've been in and you've seen it handled really well? I'm
trying to think now. We had a couple of consultants like nick a candidate or two from like one another on the sales floor before.
Never happens.
Yeah. Actually, my boss at the time, Ross, he just pulled them straight in a room. He pulled them all in a room and he read them the Riot Act. Actually, he reminded them that they all work under the same banner and logo. But he dealt with it very quickly. I admired that. I thought dealing with it very quickly was important, because we all know what happens when there's a lack of clarity and there's too many Chinese whispers and gossip mongering and stuff happens, right? So I liked that he dealt with it really quickly. I like that he dealt with it firmly. I like that he reminded them actually of the fact that we are one team. That's probably one of the ones that jumps to mind. But I think it was the speed and I think it was the speed that he dealt with it. Like, he was very convicted in his reaction to it. It was like, no, that's not on, let's go. That's probably the closest to someone doing something crossing a line.
Yeah. And that speed, do you think, I can kind of see that now, the way you painted that, and you can probably still see the image from like burnt in. Do you think, when you look at him doing that, was that a reactive or a response? Do you think he was like that was a skill set thing, or that was I don't like this, I'm gonna react?
I think it was reactive for sure. Yeah. But I think reactive responses from values or principles, I think, are okay, because I think the alternative, I mean, the action that the people are doing, whatever the crossing of the line is that's happening, is a crossing of the line, so therefore it can be reactive as a response. So I would say Ross in that situation was definitely reactive. I saw the email come in, and then I saw him come out of his office and go, you in my office. And we used to have that like grey frost in the middle, so you could just see people's legs and then their heads. So we just can see them stood in front of him in his desk, and could hear his voice a bit. So
you could hear his voice a bit. You could hear exactly what's going on. I remember seeing those dressing downs, but also being on the other side. Yeah. You know, when you're in there and you know people can hear. Yeah. You know people can hear. So I think, I think the reactive bit coming from a strong value set and a strong sense of right and wrong, I think is really, really useful. I love that example, like you've retained that like really quickly. When I was like, give me an example, you're like, yeah, Ross, this scenario, etc. If you observe, okay, another challenge, all right? So you now are a consultant coming into other businesses to help them. Let's muddy the waters a bit. You observe someone in that organisation crossing a line. Bear in mind you've got a vendor supplier relationship with that person. What do?
Depending on the severity of the line being crossed, there's always going to be an element that you're going to deal with it straight away and say something to stop it from happening there and then, and say something to the person. But if it's, they're Mickey Mousing some invoices, or there's something silly going on over, they're doing something silly that they shouldn't be doing, I would go to their line, their boss. If it was the founder themselves doing something that they shouldn't be doing, I would suggest we have a conversation about it separately and saying, right, let's talk about this in particular. And if the room was full, I'd ask for the room to be cleared, not in a dramatic way, but I just,
everyone out.
Yeah, I'd probably just say, can we grab 5 minutes to just talk about this and cover it off with them. So if they're senior, I'd just deal with it then. If it's someone junior and I've seen it happen, as long as it's causing no risk, no harm, and no one's going to lose a load of money, I would just take my time and go and speak to the founder with everything that I've seen, right? So if I've seen something and I've assessed that they've crossed the line, I'd make sure that I obviously have checked and validated that actually there is crossing of the line. It's easier for me in recruitment industry settings and agency settings because I feel like I've seen a lot of the nonsense and I know the nuancy bits that people try and get away with. So I think that's how I would approach it. It wouldn't necessarily be as reactive, I guess, because it's not me in position as a full-time employee or with a duty of care. I think there's like as an external, I think I care too much anyway, but as an external person, I think I try and keep my reaction to it a bit slower, calmer. Whereas if it's my own business or someone that's reporting directly into me, my line was the wording area of responsibility. I think you'd have to just be pretty firm and quick.
Yeah, and I think the proximity piece from the moment of awareness to action that you've described, I think is brilliant. And I think if I observe like leaders that I get to work with and speak to, I think they that lag time is too long often. They'll wait and hope things get better.
Indecision is worse than a wrong decision. Someone once said that to me, and it always stuck. I don't know if it's a good thing to good mantra to live by or thing to have in your brain when you think about things. But I've seen firsthand so many issues crop up where founders have been indecisive about stuff, whether that's disciplinary, whether that's about CRM decisions or tech decisions or expanding into markets, just being indecisive about stuff. Like, I don't think it exudes confidence. I don't think it sends the right message further down. I think if you're feeling indecisive, I think that's something you've got to work out why that is as well. And I say that to founders all the time. We were speaking about someone earlier who's flip-flopping about a CRM decision, and I keep saying that. I said it to him today. I said, why? What is it in your belly that's making you do this? Because we got to work that out, because we can't keep flip-flopping here. You've got to be, this is what we're doing, let's go. So.
And in your answer, you were very much, this is what we're doing, let's go.
Yeah.
Weren't you?
Yeah.
Should we find out the score?
Yeah, I don't know if am I getting relegated? Am I Tottenham Hotspurs or?
Should we have a look? Ready? Here we go. Oh, okay. Good news or bad news? What do you want?
Bad news first.
Bad news first. Okay, we're going to talk about this in a little bit more detail. Good news. Second, by 1 point.
Oh, really?
Second by 1 point. So congratulations, you're on the podium.
Wow.
At the moment.
Nice, I'll take that.
Very good, very good.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen a catalyst yet, have we? We haven't seen a catalyst. I love a catalyst. Okay, so let's talk this through. So first of all, 56 out of 100, like tough scenario, like well done. And actually you had 2.5 minutes left. So let's bear in mind that actually what you were able to share in terms of your approach and the quality of your decision making in 2.5 minutes was pretty good. So the catalyst, let's look at this. So your highest one, boom. That conviction score is off the charts. Like in terms of like, this is right, this is values led, this is where I go.
Yeah.
So that came through when we talked about that in a lot of detail for sure. Rare decisional clarity under a card pressure. So that card is designed to create hesitation. It's designed to mess you about, and you weren't having any of that, which I think is really sound. The operator density one. Let's look at that. So there was some like texture.
Yeah.
You could have added to your answer.
Yeah.
You know, when I was kind of like gave you a bit of like well, what else?
Yeah.
Who would you have a conversation with?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the development point there in that petri dish is around that. Is around like who, when, what, why, get into some of the nitty gritty there. What do you think?
What does operator density mean?
Yeah, so the operator density bit is the watch out bit. So as an operator, let's get into the density of like, right, I'm going to speak to the person who's overstepped the line within 48 hours. I'm going to give them an opportunity to give me more colour around actually what happened.
Yeah.
And then where's my escalation points?
Yeah.
So that's that density bit.
Yeah, that is pretty cool actually. The catalyst, what does that refer to then?
So the catalyst is an enabler. Right. So a driver of decision making, not going to sit on the fence. Mm-hmm. And so as an archetype, as a leadership decision archetype, we've had diplomat. I think we've had strategist come up today. But we haven't had a catalyst, and the catalyst bit, you lean into that in your conviction and the speed of your decision.
Yeah.
So when you watch this back and when we release it, what you'll notice is that you paused to think, but you didn't say anything, and then what you said was like this, done. Mm-hmm. Right, and you could just see that was coming from like first principles thinking of where are my values, what's my experience, what's my decision.
Yeah.
And so that's a real strength for you in terms of how you lead people. The development area is how you communicate in terms of actually like what's the step process.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's very cool. That's such good feedback to take away, right? Like that's such a good thing, like actually to reflect on your response in that way is very useful because it's got the different angles of it. Like, yeah, that's very cool. Is everyone going to do this?
Yeah.
I feel like I want to do another one.
Well, you can come back on.
Yeah.
Like very, very welcome to come back on. You'll never, you won't get the same card.
No.
So we freshen up the cards. Maybe look, it's been lovely having you on the show. You're welcome back at any time. Thanks so much for your time.
Awesome. Nice one. Thanks for having me.